I want to tell you a short mystery. It happens in an ordinary apartment. No monsters, no magic, just 7 minutes that don't exist. I usually go to bed around 11. I brush my teeth, set my phone on the table, and turn off the lights. But last night, something felt off. This morning, I checked my phone. My activity log said my phone was used at 11:17 p.m. That surprised me because I was sure I was already in bed. The log showed camera opened, flashlight on, voice recorder started, then nothing. I tried to remember, but my mind went blank. So I did what anyone would do. I played the recording. At first, there was only silence. Then I heard a door handle turning. My front door. I sat up straight. My chest felt tight. Then a voice came through the speaker. Quiet. Close. It said, "Don't look." I replayed it again and again. The words were clear, but I didn't recognize the voice. I checked my front door right away. The lock was fine. No scratches, no broken chain. Still, I couldn't relax. Then I noticed something on the floor. A thin piece of paper pushed under my door. No name, no signature, an unsigned note. It said, "You missed 7 minutes." And below that, written in dark ink, 11:17. I didn't throw the note away. I put it on my desk, like evidence. All day, I kept thinking about one question. Was someone outside my door, or was it just me? By evening, I had a plan. I set up a simple test. First, I placed a strip of clear tape across the doorframe, a seal. If the door opened, the tape would tear. Then I balanced a pen on the door handle. If anyone touched it, the pen would fall. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. At 11:05, I turned off the lights. I forced myself to lie still. I even kept my phone on the table, face down, like I was trying not to influence the result. I remember checking the time once, 11:12. And then, nothing. The next thing I remember is morning light. I sat up fast and looked at the door. The pen was on the floor. My seal, the tape on the frame, was still there. But it didn't look normal. The edges were too clean, as if it had been peeled off, carefully, and pressed back into place. My stomach dropped. That didn't happen by accident. I checked my phone. 11:17 again. The activity log showed the flashlight was used, and the recorder started. I played the audio. This time, I heard more. Soft footsteps in the hallway. A pause. Then a voice, different from last time, said something I couldn't fully catch. But one phrase was clear. "He's ready." I stood there, holding my breath. If someone really came to my door, how did they open it and leave no trace? And then I noticed something else. On the note from last night, there was a faint mark, like a thumbprint made of dust. I didn't recognize it, but it looked like someone had touched the paper with hands that weren't clean. After the second note, I stopped pretending it was nothing. If someone was messing with my door, I needed proof that couldn't disappear. So I made a rule for myself. Back up everything. I set my phone to upload automatically. I left my laptop camera on, facing the hallway through a cracked door, And I used an old voice recorder as a backup, just in case one device failed. It felt paranoid, but at least it was a plan. That night, I stayed awake as long as I could. 11:08, 11:12, 11:15. My eyes were open. I remember that clearly. And then, morning. Again. I sat up in disbelief. It didn't make sense. If I was awake, how could I have lost time? My phone showed it, 11:17. I didn't even look at the note first. I went straight to the files. The phone upload was there, the audio file was there, and the laptop video was there too. I clicked play. At first, the footage was normal. A quiet hallway, dim light, nothing moving. Then, the screen glitched. For half a second, a sudden jump, like a skipped frame. And after that, someone stepped into view. My breath caught, because the person was me. Same hoodie, same posture, even the way I shifted my weight, like I was waiting for something. I watched myself walk to my front door and turn the handle. Slowly, calmly, no panic, no hesitation. Then, I looked straight at the camera. I raised one finger to my lips. Shh. And then, I spoke. My voice was steady. "If you're watching this," I said, "you forgot again." I stared at the screen, frozen. What shocked me wasn't just the video. It was how normal I looked. Like this wasn't happening to me. Like I was doing it. On the final frame, I reached into my pocket, pulled out something small, and slid it behind the panel near the firebox. Then the footage glitched again, and the hallway was empty. I went into the hallway and opened the panel near the firebox. Behind it was a hidden compartment. Inside were 4 things: a key, an envelope, a notebook, and a USB drive. The USB had a label, Evidence. The envelope had my name, in my handwriting. The first line of the letter said, "The truth is, you asked for this." Months ago, I saw someone I trusted doing something illegal, and when they realized I knew, the pressure began. I wanted to report it, but I was afraid. I would back out. So I created 7 missing minutes, every night at 11:17, long enough to carry out one task and short enough that I wouldn't hesitate. The notebook explained the clues. "Don't look" wasn't a threat. It was my reminder to myself, don't second guess. That explains the seal, too. The tape looked untouched because I removed it and put it back. Then I saw a line in bold, "He's ready." Next to it, confirmation received. The key had one instruction, locker B17. I went downstairs and opened it. Inside was a filed report, already submitted, and a receipt proving it was received. In that moment, everything added up. I wasn't being hunted. I was making sure the truth couldn't disappear. So I turned off the 11:17 trigger. And for the first time in weeks, nothing happened.